Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Juventus versus Manchester United preview in the Champions League, and a game that Manchester United simply cannot afford to lose. I know a lot of people are expecting us to lose. We're going to go through the lineup. We're going to go what Jose Mourinho said just a few moments ago, and Paul Pogba has spoken as well. Very interesting dynamic between those two. Is it all a veil of bullshit, or have they genuinely put their past behind them? And will that be enough to save Mourinho and Manchester United? But first of all, a massive game against Juventus, and I must just say I think they're unbeaten in something like 190 million games or something like that, Juventus. No, but in seriousness, to win in Turin would be a massive surprise. But it's not to say that we can't go and get something there. But we do need to win. We do need to not lose this game. Now, people will say, well, even if we lose, we're fine. The reality is, if we can get a draw, even if Valencia were to beat Young Boys, which is likely, if they then lose to Juventus, we can still go through on goal difference if we lost to Valencia. But the reality is, if we draw with Juventus and then Valencia beat us in Spain, they'll leapfrog us. So it's the young. We're assuming Valencia will beat Young Boys, we will beat Young Boys, and Valencia will lose to Juventus. But the connotations are, if we lose to Juventus and Valencia's beat us in Spain, we're probably going into the Europa League with Arsenal, and that's not what we want to do. So we need to get something from this game tomorrow night. And how do we do it? Well, there is my lineup on the left. And Lukaku is injured. He is out, which is why he missed the game at the weekend. So Lukaku is out, but Fellaini and Valencia return. And as you can see with the team that I've put out there, there are a couple of changes to the game from the weekend. You've got Fred coming in for Fellaini, Lingard coming in for Mata. And I think that is the way that he will go. I don't see Juan Mata having a great game against Bournemouth. And I think with Jose Mourinho, he doesn't really want to play Juan Mata. He doesn't mind using him every now and again, but as soon as he can pull him off, he will do, and not in a way that Mata's going to enjoy. He's taken him off the pitch after 55 minutes, I think, against Bournemouth, which is no time at all to be taking a player off who's been pretty brilliant for you in previous games. But it's typical Mourinho, and I expect it to happen with Martial soon as well. He will not be patient with players he doesn't really want to be in the team, and Juan Mata is certainly one of those. So Lingard will come back in for his energy and work rate, which is going to be very important against Juventus. I think we'll see Sanchez down the middle with no Lukaku, and I would presume Martial will play on the left, which means there's no place for Rashford in the front three. Maybe he'll play Rashford instead of Lingard, but I think Lingard's more senior years will serve to put Mourinho to put him in the team. Into the midfield three. You know, I've spoken about this quite a lot. The only chance we've got with Fellaini not coming into the team, which is Anaban, is that if Fellaini is not fully fit for the game. But, I mean, people saying that Fellaini's not going to play. If he's anywhere near match fitness, Mourinho's bringing him back in. And if it doesn't happen against Juventus, it's going to happen very, very, very soon anyway, because Fellaini will be the midfield three. And if you're moaning about Matic, then we're going to have Fellaini in there. Fred, again, another player that was taken off after very, very little time against Bournemouth comparatively to the 90-minute game. I mean, even Flex said that Fred was bad at the weekend. I've seen a lot of people saying Fred was bad at the weekend, but they said it about his performance against Leicester on the opening day, and I just think people see what they want to see with Fred. Or maybe I don't see the bad points, but I see the good points, and maybe some people see the bad points, but they don't see the good points. So I would personally love to see Liverpool are losing 2-0 as well. That's got to be worth a like on any video, isn't it? Liverpool are losing 2-0 in Red Star Belgrade, which puts their qualification situation into a little bit of jeopardy because Napoli and PSG are also in that group. So very interesting, the Champions League. You know, there is hope for us. But so I think if Fellaini's fit, his first choice midfield will probably be Fellaini, Matic and Pogba. Hopefully Fellaini isn't fully fit and we might see Herrera, Pogba and Matic, because I don't see him picking Fred in a game of this magnitude, even though he probably should do. So I think the back four obviously takes care of itself. Shaw, Lindelof, Smalling, Young and De Gea will be the team. Is that 11 good enough to beat Juventus? No, it's not. And I think this is where I want to talk about what Mourinho said about and what Pogba have said in the press conference. You know, obviously there's a lot of people putting on a positive vibe around the club at the moment. Pogba himself, Mourinho, you know, it's all, you know, everything's great now, isn't it? Because we've beaten teams that we should have been beating, even though we've been only playing for half a game. So there's this positive spin at the moment, but I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with the positive spin, because there's nowhere to hide this week. There's nowhere to hide. We're going to Juventus and we're going to Man City. And you know what? You can spin the positivity as much as you like, but if we get embarrassed in either of those games, it shows how far away we are in year 3 of Mourinho's reign. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that that the positivity is going to lead to a new page for United. But I'm a realist, and I think there's no chance of a new page being turned with Jose Mourinho, because he is what he is. He's a defensive coach. And straight away, just to emphasise that, if you want a team to win the title or the Champions League, then he's not in the team, 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 he's not in the team. He's got to massively improve to be in the team, and he's got to get his consistency back to be in the team. So that's nearly half that team. If everybody's playing well, which nobody is at the moment, we couldn't defend a bloody picnic. Our attacking intent, it's not quite there. But if everybody was playing to their very, very best, that is a massive problem with United. And funnily enough, it's down the right-hand side where we're shit. But those 5 players especially are not good enough to win a Premier League title, and they're not good enough to win a Champions League. And that's how far United are away, even if we have the best, everyone's playing to their best capabilities. Now, I know people will say Matic has won more titles than United have in the last 6 years. He's won 2. So's Mark Schwarzer. Do you want him to come and play in goal instead of De Gea? I love these sort of crap stats, I call them. Crap stats. What are you slating Matic for? He's won more Premier League titles in the last 6 years than your whole club has. Yeah, so's Mark Schwarzer. Exactly. Sit down. It's irrelevant. Football is about the now, and ability is about the now, and Matic is crap at the moment, and he shouldn't be in the team. I'd love to see Herrera coming in for that position there, because I tell you what, when I look at Juventus and how they make play and what options they've got, they're no richer than we are. We shouldn't be in their shadow. We shouldn't be in awe of them. The only thing I'm in awe of Juventus is they've got a board that actually has worked really well. I mean, let's not forget, this isn't Real Madrid Ronaldo. This isn't Barcelona with Messi. This isn't PSG with all their bought wealth like Man City. This is Juventus, a team that has a great history, but a team from a league that has been taking L's for nearly 2 decades. Italian football's not the be-all and end-all. Italian football's on the way back, and it's on the way back because of the way that their league and their clubs in it want to promote themselves. They want to get back. But more importantly, it's about the passion of Juventus to get back on the world stage and win a Champions League. The Italian league's been in the shadows for a long time. It's slow. It's nowhere near as good as the Prem. But here we are. We're going to Juventus as underdogs. Why are we going there? Because Juventus have been aggressive to go and get Ronaldo at their club. Because they've brought Bonucci back. Because they've maintained an identity of what their club is all about. There is no excuse for United to be going to Juventus and going, oh, it's massive Juventus. They're on a different page to us. We were on a different page to them. They've just read their book quicker and gone ahead of us because they've got a proper author running that club. And that's what it's all about with Juventus. So when I look at Juventus and United, you know what? The reality is the skill gap is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. They've got Ronaldo, they've got Douglas Costa, they've got Dybala, they've got loads of options in the midfield. Your Pjanic, your Khediras, your Matuidis, your Amine Khan. They've got Alexandro on the right. They've got Cancelo. They've got 3 brilliant centre-backs in Benatia, Chiellini and Bonucci. They've got a very, very, very good team. And they're a prime example of a team that just, has a great history but has gone and built something. And fair play to them for doing that. George Ramos says we need to bring Scott McTominay back. I don't think we need to do that. But Swap Woodward with the Juve CEO, says Anaban. You know what? I want to read some of Jose Mourinho's quotes, but I think you're very, very right there. I think my frustration at the moment is, obviously, I'm still always going to be Jose Mourinho out. Of course I am, but and it's took me a long time to get to that stage, so I'm not about to flip-flop and change that. But I do feel at the moment that, look, let me read some of these quotes. Mourinho says that the Juventus game is such a big match. I don't want to think about what's next. It could be Crystal Palace or whatever. Okay, it's City, but that doesn't matter. And that's a good statement from Mourinho because, we're all thinking Juventus and City, we could lose both. Hopefully we can get a couple of draws, whatever. But they are mountains within, I nearly said they're 2 massive mountains, Dolly Parton. But that's not what I was thinking. They are 2 mountains, but they are individual mountains. They are individual tournaments and they are individual challenges, and that we shouldn't start wandering towards the Manchester derby when we've got the Juventus game to play against. So good comments there from Mourinho. We work a lot on defensive organisation. I'm sure you're not going to say I don't work on that because you say the opposite. God knows what he was on about there. But I think we all fully expect that we are going to see United working on their defensive organisation tomorrow, because I think we will park the bus tomorrow. I think many of us expect us. He also said that the reality is that we don't normally start matches well, but if we don't start well and end well, it's fine. It can be good fun for the fans, but football is 90 minutes, and if you give your opponents an advantage, you have a mountain to climb. He's back on the Dolly Parton again. He was also asked about the Man City financial fair play leaks, and he says, I have thoughts from a few years ago, but I keep the thoughts to myself, which is, you're not keeping your thoughts to yourself, are you, Jose? You're basically saying, I thought this was the case many years ago, which many of us did on that. We'll have to watch to that page with that. Confirms that Lukaku was injured. And also, I'm not interested in the European Super League. And on his relationship with Paul Pogba, Paul said a few weeks ago that we have a manager-player relationship. I say we have a good manager-player relationship. And Pogba has said it's been well. We won 2 trophies in the first year, finished second last year. Personally, I feel good. This is Paul Pogba's quotes. I think it's the change in the form came from everybody. I think altogether maybe we don't do enough. Against Chelsea, we played all together and it changed. He said, for me, losing the vice-captaincy didn't affect me. If the manager takes the armband, it doesn't take anything from me. Nothing changed, really. Which I thought was a bit of a weird comment from Pogba. I'm sure he's saying that to sort of protect Mourinho, but I actually think if Pogba genuinely means that taking the vice-captaincy from me doesn't change anything, it doesn't mean, it doesn't take anything from me, then I think, actually that's I mean, it's great for his relationship with Jose, but actually I think, if you have the vice-captaincy of Manchester United taken away from you and it doesn't change anything, it doesn't take anything away from me, I think I would beg to differ with that one, Paul. I mean, vice-captaincy of Manchester United should be one of the, the big achievements of your footballing career, and if it gets taken away from you, it should be a disappointment. So I think realistically there he's just playing a lie to protect Jose, to be honest with you, because I'd be absolutely gutted. When asked if he's happy at Manchester United, he says, why do I look sad? I'm really happy. I'm happy to wear the shirt. It's a big club, and at a big club, there is always talk. Again, weird, vague comments, but I'm not going to read too much into that. The reality is, would I be happy if Jose Mourinho and Pogba had sorted their difference out and were getting on with each other? I'm going to use the Pogba quote and say it doesn't change anything for me. It doesn't take anything away from me. I'm still Mourinho out, and I'm still very, very irritated by the situation the club's in. I mean, it's great that we've taken 10 points from 12, but I said back in August I refuse to have my expectations lowered by this board and this manager. And I think with a lot of fans, not all, but certainly the Mourinho winners, I think your expectations are really low. That's why you're backing him, because I'm a Manchester United fan. Hello, I'm a Manchester United fan, and I also say that Manchester United should be challenging for titles. Manchester United should not be in a position at the start of November where the title race is gone and our biggest hope is that we can fight for 4th. That's not what we should be about. And if it was his first season, I might be a little bit more forgiving, but it's year 3. So I stay Mourinho out because my expectations refuse to be lowered by owners and a manager who are trying to lower my expectations. So I accept this mediocre phase that we are going through, which is unacceptable. If we were to win the next 10 games in a row, including Juventus and Man City, then I would go, look, I'm really annoyed with the last 2.5 years, but at least you've actually figured it out and you're getting us back to where we need to do it. Now go and do it for another 10 games. And I think that's what a lot of people would say is that it's that trust, isn't it? It's that trust with Jose. If you still trust him, fair play to you. I don't trust him. I don't trust him not to play Fellaini tomorrow. I don't trust him not to bring Lukaku back when he's fit. I don't trust him to do what needs to be done and drop Matic. I don't trust him to find a place for Bailly and not Smalling. I don't trust him to not play Dalot and play Young. To not play Dalot, to not play Young and play Dalot. I don't trust him to do any of these things, because I know what he's all about. I saw it at the weekends. Even though we're winning games, he still betrays his real thoughts. I can read him like a bloody Jedi. The Mata thing was just so cynically obvious. I knew it was going to happen. What were we saying before the game against Bournemouth? It's no surprise that United are suddenly playing well. Now we're playing Mata and Martial in the same team. What happens? Bournemouth, we have a bad half. Get Mata off. This is my chance. We won't see Mata playing again for a while. I mean, I'll laugh my head off if he starts tomorrow now, because it makes me look a plonker, which I'm happy to take the L on, but we won't see Mata starting games now. He's moved Mata out of the team very quickly for a half of football that was no worse than anybody else's, but he's out the team. I don't think we'll see Fred either. I don't think we'll see Fred now for similar reasons. And I'm pretty sure at some point Martial will have a bad half and we will see him taken off and we won't see him again. what we'll see is Fellaini, Lukaku and the usual suspects back in the team. And when that happens, we'll see the same crappy results coming back. I really hope I'm wrong on all that, but this is based on 2.5 years of experience with Jose. So, excited about this week? Yes, I am. Yes, I am, sir and madam. I'm very excited because there's nowhere to hide in these games. Can we get a result against Juventus? Do you think we can get a result against Juventus? For me, I'm going to say United lose 2-0. And that's nothing to do with being negative. That is to do with the enormity of the task at hand. We are away to a team that's not lost in a long, long time. We are away to a team that is streets ahead of us at the moment. And we are away in a game where we will fight hammer and tong to park the bus and get a draw. And I think at some point they'll score, and at some point we'll then concede a second. So I think we'll lose 2-0, as much as I would like to see us win. And the City game is a separate game. We'll talk about that obviously later in the week. Pereira should be in the team, Michael Jones, I agree. Pogba, Herrera and Fred, says Timothy. I'd love to see that. Jose is untrustworthy. Please sack him if we lose by more than 4 against Juve and City, says Louise O'Donoghue. United are going to win, believe, says Abubakar. Oh, look, the great thing is if we do win, it will feel like 2 wins because I don't think a lot of us are expecting it. And anything can happen. Anything can happen in football. As I say, Red Star have just beaten Liverpool, haven't they? Thoughts on Lukaku being out against City and Juventus, says A9 George. Well, A9 George, it makes our job easier. It makes our job much easier if Lukaku's not in the team. You know what? This is the sort of thing I could see happening with United. I could see United getting results against Juventus and City. We won't win both, but by results, maybe win 1, draw 1. We go into the international break. We're like, we've been brilliant. We've won loads of games. This, that, and the other. International break happens. Everyone's back fit against Crystal Palace. He brings Lukaku back. Fellaini's in the team. Matic is in the team. And it's the same old shit. And that's what I'm scared of with Jose. I don't trust him to stick with what needs to happen. It's not rocket science. You know, if you play Pogba and Martial together, you bring Mata into the team. You get a bit more mobility in the midfield with Fred in there. Then suddenly we become a better team. And you put a number 9 that's not Lukaku in the mix as well, whether it's Sanchez or Rashford. Suddenly we're a better team. It's not rocket science. If you take those, you gradually start taking those bricks away again and replace them with the duds, like Mata coming out, you know, Fred coming out, Fellaini coming back, Lukaku coming in, we're going to go back to where we were. But in the short term, Lukaku being out, to answer the question, is great for United because it puts us in a better situation where we've not got this player up front who is static and unable to hold the ball up. So we're better. We're a better team without Lukaku. You know, I'd argue that. I don't think many people wouldn't argue with that at the moment, even his fans. Jovan says, how can Jose say Herrera changed the game but not play him? That's a good point. I think he's got to play Herrera, but whether he will or he won't. As I say, I think this will be the team. Much depends whether Fellaini is match fit. If Fellaini's not match fit, if Fellaini is match fit, he'll play him. If Fellaini's not match fit, by default, we could get Herrera in that position. And again, we become a better team because Fellaini doesn't play. I mean, ideally for me, Fellaini's not fit and Matic pulls his hamstring. And then we've got to play Fred and Herrera and suddenly we've got a better team. I don't wish injury on people, but actually, you know, at this point of the season, I almost do because we'll be a better team. We'll be a better team if we play Pogba, Herrera and Fred than we would be with Pogba, Matic and Herrera or Pogba, Matic and Fellaini. And we, you know, Jose needs to just wake up, snort a load of Kenko and wake up. Kenko is coffee, smell the coffee and wake up. But seriously do, because this is what we need to happen at Manchester United. We need to start playing. People talk about transfer windows. You know, as I said, you're never going to win a title with him, and him. I nearly said her then. Those 5 players, never going to win a title with them. They're not quite good enough. Some of them are bench players, some of them shouldn't be in the club. But they're not good enough to win a title. Look at like Man City's team, look at Juventus' team. They're not good enough, okay? But do you need to go in the transfer market to change it? Arguably not. Dalot in that position. Bailly in that position. Pereira or Herrera in that position. Fred in that position. That's 4 of the positions filled from within the club. Sanchez can come into there. Rashford can go there. Or Sanchez can stay there and you can play Mata there. So, yeah, I would like us to buy a top-class right midfielder. But we've got the players within the club. This is one of the things that's always frustrated me under Van Gaal and Mourinho, is that it's not, you know, you can look at your 11 and go, oh, we're not good enough there, we need to buy. That's sometimes pie in the sky. You know, anybody can say that. Liverpool could say Alisson is crap in goal. What we all thought he was great. We all thought he was the next De Gea. Let's go and buy a proper keeper. We're gonna have to wait for the transfer window. What frustrates me about United is we perennially pick shit teams when we've got players that are better than our starting 11. How many times do we say the bench is better than the starting 11? That's what frustrates me about United, because actually, I think with the right manager and the right approach, we've got players that can make us play better. We just don't pick them. Howard Walter says, I don't know why we all hate on Fellaini. He will win us a title this season. Be right back. Got to sniff some more crazy glue. You saved yourself at the end there, Howard, and thanks very much for the contribution. But look, that is something that I take as a bit of confidence, really, is that I think that our team, we have got the players within our squad. We've just got a manager that doesn't like to play that brand of football, and that becomes counterintuitive as to where we want to be. And again, I talk about trust, don't I? I just don't trust this manager. I think, Martial's playing at the moment because Lingard and Sanchez were injured. If they'd have been fit, he never would have played him. And because he's had to play him, he scored 5 goals in 4 games, and we've won 10 points out of 12. If Lingard and Sanchez had been fit, Martial wouldn't have played. So you can go, oh, it's great at the moment, but there is actually a massive, massive warning sign that this is happening because of fate. It's like, you know what, let's take it away from Mourinho for a moment. Van Gaal claimed Rashford. I was the one who found Rashford. Anybody who was alive at that time supporting United knows the truth. Van Gaal found Rashford by default because there was nobody else. Everyone was injured. Martial got injured in the warm-up, and he had been playing Will Keane up front. Will Keane, who's he? Exactly. Will Keane was his forward ahead of Rashford. And then Will Keane got injured, then Martial got injured, and he had nobody left, and he just had to play Rashford, and a star was born. So Van Gaal stumbled on Rashford. And just the same with Mourinho at the moment. He stumbled on Martial and Mata because he couldn't play Sanchez or Lingard because they were injured. He stumbled on, the Sanchez and Rashford thing up front, making us a better team because Lukaku's been injured. We stumbled on playing Fred because Fellaini's been injured. So long term, when all these people are fit, I'm just massively concerned that he'll go back to the same crap because that's what he's all about. And don't get me started on Pereira and Herrera. I think they should both be playing. I'm feeling a little bit better, Jay. I'm feeling a little bit better. Thank you very much. Not quite there yet, but I'm feeling a little bit better. Anyway, smash a like on the video, everybody. Let's go with a little bit. We got to believe that we can win tomorrow. And as I said, the tagline is, we've got to win tomorrow. We've got to not lose tomorrow. If we want to stay in the Champions League, and nobody wants to be in the Emmerdale Cup, we don't want to be in the Emmerdale Cup with Arsenal and Chelsea. I think we're going to be there next season anyway, because I don't think we're going to get top 4. So we may as well enjoy being in this Champions League while we can. And if we lose to Juventus tomorrow, I fear that we've then got to go to Valencia and not get beat, and I don't see that happening. So at least if we get a draw against Juventus, we can have a chance in Valencia of not having to win and going through, which is highly likely. So we can't afford to lose tomorrow. If we lose tomorrow, it's out of our hands and it's in Valencia's hands, and that's worrying because we're away to them, and we're not a very good team against possession sides. So that could be very, 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 very concerning. Let's see what happens. Anyway, we will have that all covered for you tomorrow. We've got fan cams, flexes in Turin, we got watch-alongs, all sorts of stuff going on. So smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe if you're new. And now, for those people who are waiting, we've got a little bit of a bonus for you because I'm about to end this stream, go live on That's Football, because I'm doing a double watch-along with Mad Marcus. We're doing Spurs versus PSV. One of us is watching that, and I'm watching Inter versus Barca, which, if you are a United fan, is quite an interesting game to watch because you've got Skriniar, we've got Icardi playing, we've got Perisic playing, and obviously you get a bit of Barcelona as well. So join me for that. No 8 o'clock show tonight because of the Champions League games, but if you want to stay, and to be honest with you, the watch-alongs on That's Football are always quite banter. So get over there. It's the Spurs versus PSV and Inter versus Barcelona live stream watch-along. I'm literally going to end here and go live there because I've got the telly on the screen there. Skriniar watch, whatever you want to call it. Join me on over there. Drop a like on this video before you do, though. It's Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, I think it is. Just search it on YouTube or just put That's Football in. You'll see the stream there. I'll see you there in a few seconds' time. Thanks for watching.